everybody. Today, what we're going to be talking about is how a child can complete a photo reading. This is so much fun for children. It will be a fun exercise for them to do, and also they will learn as they practice and practice and practice. And just to let you know, in the very beginning, children may be a little bit overwhelmed with everything, but just know with more practice, they'll get more confident. And it's always good to know, the child to know, as well as to whatever comes first in a photo reading, whatever intuitive information comes through, use that. And don't think about it. Just write it down or talk to a parent about it. And I would definitely keep with whatever they're saying. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I'm going to give you some tips on how to help a child complete a photo reading. And then we're going to talk about the different questions that you can ask for an intention. And then we're going to look at some photos of my family members, just for fun exercises until the children get their own photos out. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the tips for photo readings. Now, if possible, find a photo showing the person in a natural environment. If they take a professional headshot, it's like they're posing. So it's kind of an uncomfortable situation sometimes when they're posing, and it's really hard to read. But if they're out in nature or they're camping or they're having fun, there'll be a lot more energy to read in the photo. Now, when the child begins to read the photo, what they need to do is they need to relax, set an intention. What are you trying to find out from this photo? And clear their thoughts. All right, then focus on one feature at a time. And of course, start with the eyes, because they always say, right, the soul is in the eyes. And so you always want to start with the eyes. Now, I always tell people that whenever you do photo readings, make sure that you don't look at anybody's body language. Because look at the very top of this picture. The girl here has kind of got a semi-smile. Maybe she's the most happiest person in the world. Her soul is very, very happy. But yet, physically, she may not be able to show that. So that's why we're reading energy, not really the photo. But it's a totally different type of energy when instead of reading somebody that's with you or on Zoom, this energy is a little bit different. You are really having to concentrate on working with your spirit team. Okay, then when a child begins to read a photo, they may be able to all of a sudden get visions, pictures, symbols. They may have feelings about the photo. They may, feel like an illness of what that person had. It's almost similar to an oracle and a tarot card reading. You are trying to find a story out about this person that you're looking at. But again, try not tell the child, don't look at the body language. Try to look at their eyes and really feel into the photo. You need to remember whenever you're teaching a child to read a photo is they may need to have some questions that they ask themselves. Well, okay, what do I feel about this person's personality? What type of personality did this person have? And so it's always good to give a child some questions that they can go ahead and ask when they're reading a photo. Also, whenever they're reading a photo, the energy is completely different from a person who is living versus somebody who is deceased. And so I would definitely start them with a photo, either of a really old photo of a relative that's deceased or someone that's close that is living. Okay, but I would always start with somebody who has passed away, and then do someone who is living, and it's always a lot of fun. But a lot of times children don't have, after you ask a question, they may not be able to come up with the adjectives that you need. So there may also be a way that you need to teach a child different adjectives of a personality that this person may exhibit. So this person may be very social. What does that mean? They may be wild. Well, what does that mean? They may be brave, cheerful, oh my goodness, cheerful, friendly, likable. So I tried to find some very positive adjectives, especially for a child. Now, if they get an uncomfortable feeling, an adjective, like this person was really mean, then they may come up with something like that. But I try to be very positive, but not every person, as we know, has a very positive personality. So teaching adjectives is also important for a child to be able to understand, to be able to complete a photo reading. All right, so another question that you may come up with for a photo reading for a child is their favorite food. So, was their favorite food, or is their favorite food? And I just pretty much put categories. They can go as specific as they want. But again, they need to be familiar with foods. Now, children, they haven't lived very long, so they may not have a very big food repertoire. so this will be something that they have to come up with and see, kind of feel into it. That's why you always want to find questions that make sense to a child. You may not want to say, okay, well, how was this relationship with the husband and wife? They may not know that. Or you may not want to ask the question, how did you die? Unless the child is ready. So you've really got to come up with some very fun questions that they can find out about this person. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you another slide of a question that you can ask them. Is family. Do they have any family members? Do they have children? Do they have dogs and cats? Yes, they're family, or fish, any type of animal. Do they have grandparents? Were they close to their grandparents? Do they have brothers or sisters, mother and father, aunts and uncles? What kind of family do they have? All right, the next question that you can always ask, and this will be fun for a child, is what is this person's favorite hobbies, or what is his favorite sports, or anything in that area. So I went ahead and looked at the different hobbies that a person can have, and I mean, this is just a limited list. There are so many hobbies out there that they can see. And of course, when they're younger, you can also look at cheerleading, or what was their favorite subject in school, whatever the child will understand. And the last question that I have in this presentation is vacations. Where did this person like to go on vacation? Now, I just did kind of general. So, like, this person may have loved to go to the mountains, maybe to different countries. Maybe this person was a world traveler. Maybe they just love lakes or travel to different states. Or this person loved to take trips to Disney World. That would be me, right? I would love to go to Disney World. So there again, it is very important with whatever question that the child is going to ask whenever they do a photo reading. They need to know the adjectives that they can answer it. Because if you cannot come with an adjective of happy, and this person was really happy, then the child's going to have a hard time expressing. So again, you might need to teach them adjectives that they can use, or if they can read, give them a list that they can come up with and go, oh, this is what I'm feeling. Wonder what. So you may have to really help them come up with the words about this person. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you this photo. And this photo, they're family members. And I will explain more as we go. So if you want to use this, and teaching the child first, or use family photos of the family photos that the child can use, whatever course you want to take. But I just wanted to give you an example. So the older gentleman there is deceased, and then the young man that's put his arm around him, he is still living. And I wanted to find a photo where I had both, so that you could see how it is whenever you're doing a reading. And a child, it may be important for the child to know if the people are living or deceased. All right, so let me show you this picture. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a picture of this older gentleman, and his name is Malcolm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some questions to answer or to fill into Malcolm and see what type of information you get. And remember, you may get visuals, you may get that feeling, and then if you get any other information besides the questions that I give you, please email me so that you can get validated. And so I'll ask the questions first. And then after the end of all the questions talking about Malcolm, then I'll give you the answers of what I have, okay? So the first question is, what type of personality did Malcolm have? And you may want to pause it. So I'm going to go to question number 2. What were Malcolm's favorite hobbies? The third question, what were his favorite vacation destinations? The fourth one, what was his favorite type of music? Number 5, what type of family did Malcolm have? And the 6th one, I love this one. What was his favorite food? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the information about Malcolm now. So you may want to pause it and make sure that you've done the reading or the child has done the reading, okay? It's always good for both of you to practice as well. All right, so personality. This is the type of personality. Loving, he was loving. He was very ambitious, calm, very faithful, and very trustworthy. Okay, so his hobbies, he loved, especially towards the end of his life, he loved watching the news and also sports. Okay, so if you got that, you got it right. He joined a bowling league, and so he loved to bowl. He loved to water and snow ski. His favorite vacation destinations were actually towards the end of his life. He and his wife bought a motorhome and went to all of the states. And yes, they actually went to Hawaii, but they took a plane to get to Hawaii. So, but they did, and they traveled across the country and absolutely loved it. The type of music that he loved was country. And Willie Nelson was the number one thing that he loved to listen to. His family, okay, so he was married twice. His first wife was Carol, and then he had his own kids. He had a girl and 2 boys. And then came along my brother and I, and we were his stepchildren. And then my mother, of course, was the second wife. Okay, and he also had a sister and a brother. His favorite food was Mexican food and also margarita. And I know a child won't get this, but he also liked beer. Okay, so beer and alcohol as well, and he smoked. So, all right, so let me know if you got any other information about Malcolm. So, how did you do? And if your child didn't do well, it's okay. Keep practicing. Keep practicing. It will come. And if you cannot come up with a word and you just knew what kind of personality he has, just practice those adjectives and it will come. All right, let's do one more. Let's do the young man that was standing next to him. Okay. All right. So here is his picture. And so here you can really look into his eyes. All right, so let's go ahead and do the exact same thing. And I want to tell you his name is Mike, and he is still living, okay? All right, so I'm going to ask the questions and kind of pause a little bit. If you need to pause the video, do that as well. So what type of personality does Mike have? See how the questions change? So what type of personality are you feeling that he has? What are his hobbies? What destinations does he love to go to? What is his favorite music? Does Mike have a family? And what is Mike's favorite food? All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the answers that describe Mike. Okay. So his personality, he is very social. He's like one of those guys, when he walks in the room, you already know who he is. He is very youthful and very humorous. He tries to be very humorous, very kind, cheerful, confident, and very, very impulsive. So growing up, he was very ADHD, very attention deficit, my might add, and very impulsive. But as an adult, he has calmed down. Okay, so his hobbies, he loves watching TV, and he really used to be a runner. Okay. On vacation destinations, he loves going to Hawaii. So he loves the beaches, the water the most. And sometimes he enjoys going to Colorado, where all the mountains are and the woods. The music he likes to listen to is pop. A lot of different genres, a little pop in there. Family, he has a wife named Angela, and he has a boy and a girl. And he was very close to his grandparents. And then he has a sister, biological sister, which is me. And then two step brothers and one step sister. All right, so his favorite food. He loves anything sweet, like chocolate. He used to come over to my house and steal my children's Halloween candy. So he loves anything that is sweet, that has sugar in it, and chocolate. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed seeing both of those photos, but that's exactly what you do. How to teach a child to read a picture. You may just want to start with one question, and very basic. Maybe something concrete. What was their favorite food? Okay, or what, and then whatever information they get. But again, they really need to learn a list of answers that might come through, so that whenever it comes, they'll know how to express it. Because that's one thing about doing psychic readings and mediumship readings, is you need to have a vast knowledge of adjectives and answers to questions that you are actually asking. But photo readings are a lot of fun for kids. It's almost like make it into a game, because if they get it wrong, just say, "Oh, that's okay. That was a very good guess. I'm glad that you were trying and telling us exactly what you got without even questioning yourself." So I hope that you enjoyed this exercise and all the information I gave you some pointers. Make sure that the child always has an intention before doing a photo reading. Then we went over a couple of questions that you could tell the child to ask about the photo and what information that they can get for validation. And of course, it's always good to find a photo of someone that you really know a lot about, so that you can do the validation for the child if they're right or wrong. And then lastly, you did some photo readings yourself, and maybe with a child. It's always good to do it with them, because you just never know. You may come up with the exact same thing, and how cool is that, right? All right, well, thank you for listening. And again, happy photo